Hey guys, this is Sri. So recently we released the mm, video related to GTID, and few of the people reached me directly and they are asking about how to skip the errors in the GTID replication environment. So I thought to release this video. But I would recommend to not skip the errors. Okay, but before skipping, skip actually the skipping the replication error is not a solution. So before you skipping, you need to verify your data, and if your data is not going to inconsistent, I mean, while the skip is not going to affect your data, then you can go with the skip. But make sure that your data is consistency. So after the skip, okay, so it is recommended to run the checksum. If in some cases, maybe you need to resume the replication as much as possible for some application requirements. So you are getting frequently the errors, replication errors. In that case, you just skip the errors. But uh, even though after you skip, make sure that you are running the checksum to make sure that data is consistent. Okay, make them consistent. So skip is not a solution. It is just you are going to fix your replication, but at the back end, your data is not consistent. Okay, so always keep that in mind. So in this video, I will just show you what are the different method available to skip the replication error in the GTID environment. Okay, so this is also applicable in the uh, bin log and position based replication. But usually skip slave counter is the mostly used one in the bin log and position based, but that will not work in GTID environment. So I will show you. So in GTID environment, to skip the error, and empty transaction should be created. Okay, to skip the error. Yeah, let's go one by one. So the first one is SQL slave skip counter. Let me log in GTID source and MySQL. So this is my master node and multipass cell GTID replica. So this is my replica node. Okay. So what we are going to do in this video is we are going to create the duplicate entry error, and we will see each method how we can just skip it. Okay, again, skipping the error is not a solution. Before skipping, you need to make sure your data is not going to be inconsistent. Okay, and in some cases, if you skip, make sure that you do the checksum to make the data consistent. Okay, fine. So show slave status. The replication IO thread and SQL thread both are running, and show master status in the source. And this is my executed GTID. If you want to understand this executed GTID, retrieve GTID, binlog GTID executed patch, then I would recommend to see my previous video. There we explained well. I received some good feedback also. So here you can see 1 to 5 transactions are executed, and here 1 to 5 is retrieved, and the fifth transaction is executed in the replica also. Okay, so here we have the table. Select star from Sri dot test. We have 3 rows in this table. Let me check in the master. Here also we have 3 rows. Okay. Um, Now I'm going to create one replication error manually. I'm doing the insert. So for testing purpose, I'm doing this, but don't, it is not recommended to write in the replicas. Okay, to avoid the replication errors and data inconsistency, it is recommended to keep your replica nodes with read only and super read only mode enabled. until there is any specific requirement. Okay, so for testing scenario, I am just writing in the replica to create the errors. Okay, so don't try this at home. So insert into free dot test values 4 comma e. I created one insert id equal to 4 and e in the replica, and I am going to execute this same statement in the master now. And here we have executed in master. In replica we already executed, so after we executed in master, again the same value is trying to execute in the replica, but the value is already there, so I am getting the replication error. Okay, so here you can see my SQL thread is not running, and I am checking this table, worker table, select star from. To find the error, I am checking this table. The first thread created error, and here is the details about my error. Worker 1 failed executing transaction. This is the GTID number at master. Okay, and could not execute right rows, tables read as text, and duplicate entry, the 4 is already exist. Okay, duplicate entry 4 means this is the primary key column, which is id equal to 4, which is already exist. Okay, because we already created that same statement in the replica, right? So after that we try to execute the same insert in master. It is trying to execute, but the id equal to 4 is already exist in the replica, then I am getting the error. Okay, so that is the reason. And id equal to 4, I am checking in replica. This is 4 and e. In the master also, this is 4 and e. So the data is same, so I am just planning to skip this error, skip this error. Okay, now, how I can skip this? If this is bin log and position based replication, then I can use the SQL slave skip counter flag to skip the event, right? So what we will do in bin log position stop slave. So usually we need to pronounce slave replica instead of slave, and source instead of master. So I am keeping it in my practice. I will try to do that. Stop replica, then change set global SQL replica skip counter equal to 1. So after I execute this, I am seeing one warning, show warnings. Okay, it tells the value of SQL replica skip counter will only take effect for channels running with assigned GTIDs to anonymous transaction. Okay, equal to off, which means it will not work for the GTID transactions. Okay, then I am trying to start replica, and I am checking my replication status. There is nothing happen. Okay, because SQL replica skip counter will not work for the GTID based replication. Okay, then how we can skip this error? Okay, that is the next question. So we have different methods to skip the error. The first one is slave exit mode. Okay, so we need to, by default the slave exit mode value is strict, and we can change it to item component to skip the duplicate entry and no key found errors. Okay, if we set slave exit mode equal to item component, it will skip the duplicate entry error as well as no key found error. Both errors will be skipped, and also this will work for GTID replication as well. This work with GTID replication as well as bin log and position based replication. So let's test this. So current value select at slave exit mode which is strict, and I'm going to stop slave and set global slave exit mode equal to idempotent and start slave. Okay, and if I check the slave status now, my SQL thread is fixed. Okay, IO and SQL thread is running, but this variable is very sensitive because if you have multiple replication errors, then it will skip it in the background. Okay, so you need to be very careful while changing this variable. It is recommended to have strict. In some cases, if you want to skip, you can use this to idempotent, but you need to make sure your data is consistent after you skip this. Okay, then um, you can see this slave IO and SQL IO, SQL and IO, both the threads are fixed now. So the retrieved is 1 to 6. Previously it was 5. Now after we fix this, now it is 6, up to 6. Okay, fine. So this is fixed now, and after the fix, I need to make sure I am reverting this to strict. Okay, and also make sure your data is consistent. If there is some inconsistent, do the checksum, just fix it. Okay, fine. The next one is remove the affected row and let the SQL thread apply it. Okay, so let me show you. I'm going to create this is the second, how we can skip the errors, second method. Okay, the same error I am going to create. So currently I have 1 to 4, and in the replica node, I am doing one insert test values 5 comma f. Okay, and I am doing the same insert in source. So after the source, we already did in replica, so it will try to replicate the value, but it will create the error because the value is already there. So it is creating the error. Select star from. If I check the table again, this is duplicate entry for 5. Okay, so I just came to know duplicate entry, which is 5. I'm just comparing the ID, like where ID equal to 5. I have 5 and F, and I am checking in the source as well, which is 5 and F, and I am trying to review the bin log. Okay, for this position, for this GTID, I am going to review the bin log. So this is the bin log file, and I am going to master cd var lib MySQL bin log base 64 output equal to decode rows, two verbose, and the file name and less. So I'm just checking the position. So this is my position. Yeah, so here is my position, and I am trying to make sure the GTID value as well. Okay, so this is the GTID value. I got fail 7th transaction. So I am checking here. Okay, so this is my transaction, which is currently not able to apply using the SQL thread because the values already exist. So I am just checking the event, which is insert into free.text, and the ID first column is 5, and the second column, which is F. Okay, and I am also verifying the current value. Currently also I am having 5 and F. Okay, so anyway, if I skip this error, The data is same. In the bin lock event, I have the 5 and f, and current value also I am having 5 and f. So in this case, instead of skipping, what I am going to do, I am going to do stop slave set SQL log bin equal to 0, just disabling the binary logging, okay, in the session level, and delete from Sri.text. In the replica I am doing this, okay, in the replica node I'm just removing the row where id equal to 5, okay. So after removing, now I have only 1 2 3 4 until 4. The fifth value is not here. So when I start the replication, this currently the error is with duplicate entry id equal to 5, right? But we just deleted the fifth row id equal to 5, we just deleted. So when I am resuming the replication, the event will again try to update, and now there is no record and it will apply, okay. For example, show slave status, okay, this still error, the error is exists. I'm going to start replica, and I'm checking the slave status now, and I can see the IO thread and SQL thread both are running, and I'm checking the data. The file is exists now. The SQL thread event is applied, and I'm checking in the master, and the data is same 1 to 5 A to F. Here also I have 1 to 5 A to F. Okay, so instead of skipping, what I did, I just removed the entry which is creating the duplicate. Okay, in the replica, I just manually removed, and I just resumed the replication with start slave. Then the event again tried to insert the data, and now it is able to do that because we already removed the error, removed the entry which is creating the error. Okay, so this is the another way we can fix this, but make sure doing these things, your data is consistent, and what you are doing is not going to create the data inconsistency. Okay, you need to make sure on that. uh, the next one is slave skip errors. Okay, so this need the MySQL restart, and you can also skip the error in the GTID environment. This will work in GTID environment as well. Okay, so the same thing, I am going to create the error. I am doing one insert 6G in the replica, and after that I am going to execute this insert statement in the source, and I have this data in source, and I have this in replica, and now I am checking the replication status. I am having the error, and the same error with duplicate entry now with the 6. Okay, so we know because we did the insert first in the replica, and then we tried to insert in the source. The id equal to 6 is trying to replicate, but in the replica already have the data, so that is the reason we have the error. Okay, so we are aware of that. Now how we can fix this? By using the variable slave skip errors. Okay, so here we can provide the error code. So what are the error code we provide? Those errors will be skipped. For example, set global, this need the MySQL restart. So if I try to so this is the error number, okay, SQL error number 1062. So if I do this, it will give the error like it is the read only variable. This is static variable. We need to put it in the MySQL config file, then need the MySQL restart. So let me copy this, and etc MySQL conf.d mysql.cnf, and here I am just putting slave skip errors equal to the error code. Okay, and I'm saving this restart. Now I am logging the MySQL and checking select attach slaves skip errors, and this is applied. So what whenever the error replication error 1062 error code is appear, it will be skipped. Now I am checking the show slave status, and here you can see my error is fixed now. IO thread and SQL thread both are running now. And here also the retrieve DT is 8th transaction and the retrieve DT is 8th transaction. This is now fixed. And also if you are doing this, it is this again I am telling, skipping the error is not a solution. The motivation of this video is just like to just showing what are the different methods available to skip the error. Okay, so whenever you are usually I would not recommend to skip, but in some cases if you are doing that, make sure your data is consistent. Okay, so if you are doing this, make sure after doing this you are disabling this as well. Okay, because this is also, it will silently skip the errors in the background. Whenever the error happens, it will silently skip the error in the background. So if you are doing this, make sure that after the purpose you just disable it. Okay, just make sure on that. Fine. The next one is pt slave restart. uh, PT slave restart. This is from the Percona toolkit. This tool also helpful to skip the error. So here usually this tool will not work with the multi-threaded. For example, I am creating the same duplicate entry error. So let me create the insert in the replica 7H. Okay, in the replica I executed. Now I am executing in the source and I'm checking the slave status. I have this replication error. Select star from, checking the table here. Now the duplicate entry with the 7. Okay, so now let's try to skip this error using the pt slave restart. I already installed the Percona toolkit. So you can download it from the Percona downloads website, or you can install the Percona repository and you can install the Percona toolkit package. Okay, if you have any questions regarding that, you can reach me. Now pt slave restart. I'm just doing. It is telling cannot skip transaction properly because GTID is enabled and slave parallel workers greater than 0. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, stop slave and set global slave parallel workers equal to 0. Okay, so before that, show process list, yeah, start slave and show process list, changing it to 0. Now start slave and show slave status. I have this error duplicate entry. Now we have only one thread activated, and you can check it from the show global variables like. Okay. So here you can see now slave parallel work is 0. Okay, so now we have only one thread. Now I am trying to skip using the pt slave restart, and here you can see this error is skipped. Okay, that it will print the error which error is skipped, that it will be printed here. Okay, now I'm just canceling it and I'm checking the show slave status. Now the last transaction is 9 and here also executed transaction is 9, and my slave IO and SQL IO which is running. Okay, it is when using this PT slave restart tool, it is also recommended to provide the UUID of the master. Okay, to avoid the confusions. Fine. So this is the another method to skip the error. Now we have the next one, manually inject the empty transaction. So usually whenever you are skipping the GTID error, in the background there is one empty transaction should be created, okay, in order to skip the GTID error. So here now when we did this slave exit mode equal to item bonded and slave skip error, PT slave restart. So this all methods will create one the empty transaction in the background and it will just skip the error. Now we can see how we can manually do that. Okay, manually how to inject the empty transaction and how we can skip it. Okay, so let me create one replication error. Yes, 8, 5, executing the same in the master, and I'm checking the replication. Now I am having the replication error. SQL thread is not running, which is no, and I have the error with duplicate entry 8, and I am just verifying the data. So we know that data is same, right? But because we are testing, we know this, but in production, you need to make sure that your data is identical before skipping it. Okay. Um, For example, select star from switch dot test. I have it and I in the source also I have it and I, and if I check the bin log event, so this is the bin log and this is the position, and let me verify that here also 8 and I. Okay, there is no further transaction, so I am planning to skip this. So how to do that? Okay, there is a next stop slave. Okay, then I need to set GTID next value to, let me find the GTID here. So for 8 and I, so this is my GTID is failing. Okay, so from that bin log file and position. So what I'm going to do, the data is identical, so I'm just trying to skip it uh, and committing the transaction, then set GTID next equal to automatic. Okay, then I am starting the replica and checking the replication status. Now the replication IO thread and SQL thread both are running, and you can see the previous before skipping the executed GTD set is 9. We manually committing the 10th one. Okay, because the 10th one is the event we like to skip it. We verified the data always right already, right? So it is same. So we are planning to skip this 10th one. So just creating the empty transaction by setting the GTID next value, the 10th one. Then I am committing it. Then again, I am setting the GTID next to automatic. Then after starting the replication, the position is moved from 9 to 10. So by creating the empty transaction. And here the IO thread and SQL thread both are running now. Okay, so this is how we can manually inject the empty transaction and skip the error. Okay, so yes, so the motivation of the video is this video is what just to show the different methods available to skip the error in the GTID environment. Okay, and most of this will work in the binlog and position based replication environment as well. This one will not work. This GTID, manually inject the empty transaction. This one will not work. The remaining methods will be applicable in the binlog and position based replication as well. Okay, this SQL slave script counter will work on the binlog and position based replication, but it will not work in the GTID based replication. There is a difference. Okay, so again, I am telling skipping is not a solution, but in some cases, if you are skipping your replication error, make sure your data is consistent, do the checksum and make them consistent. And if you are doing some variable changes like slave exit mode, slave skip errors to idempotent, or you are manually mentioning some error codes, then after the purpose, just revert it back, okay, to slave exit mode to strict and slave skip error is equal to off. Just revert it. Otherwise, your replication errors will be skipped in the background without notifying you. Okay, so you need to handle this very carefully. Um, yeah. So thank you. So this is what I wanted to share in this video. If you like this video, you can share with your friends. For more MySQL and related technology videos, you can subscribe my channel. And I am also taking the MySQL course. If you are willing to join, you can reach me directly. Thank you. Thank you very much.